Community, the people, events, and issues of Georgia, Carolina. This is the Means Report. Now, from the studios of WJBF News Channel 6 in Television Park in downtown Augusta, here's Brad Means.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Means Report. A big welcome, especially to all of our brand new viewers joining us this Sunday as we make our debut on WJBF's primary channel 6.12 on your cable system, however you want to call it. Channel 6 is now home to the Means Report. We're grateful because that happened with your support and your viewership, toiling away on our TV those many months, and now we've been bumped up to the big leagues, and we are so happy to have you in our audience and so excited to share the Means Report with you in the coming months and years as we bring you the newsmakers in our community talking to us at lengths that are not possible during normal newscasts. No longer will it just be a 10-15 second soundbite. No, the leaders of this community will come here to the Means Report. They'll talk about the issues of the day, and boy, we can't think of a better way to kick off our new life on WJBF than with the brand new superintendent of Augusta Richmond County Schools. He's only been on the job a few weeks. He's been on the job about as long as the school year has been underway. Dr. Frank Robertson is on the set of the Means Report. He's going to talk about a lot of important issues facing all of the children in Richmond County and really in this entire community. You'll want to stay with us for that. It's just moments away, but I mentioned that Dr. Robertson had been on the job pretty much since the start of school, and he made sure he was in school when he first took that new gig. Take a look.
Superintendent Frank Roberson walked in the first day on the job, ready to work and receiving the royal treatment. It started at 7:30 in the morning with visits to 6 Richmond County schools. And while it may have seemed like a whirlwind, Robertson says he's focused and ready to go with an important mission.
To connect with the teachers and the students and the principals to get a sense for what's happening in the teaching and the learning environment.
Robertson will meet with school board members to go over urgent and pressing matters like a shrinking budget and academic programs.
Probably the most important of those would be being here in the schoolhouse to connect with the actual learning process.
I'm happy that we have a new superintendent on board so soon, and I'm happy that he's decided to visit the schools, because in the school and the classroom is where the action is.
Principal Hartley Gibbons and the staff at Terrace Manor Elementary greeted Robertson with a plaque and briefed their new leader on the school's progress.
We need a commitment on his part to provide us all the resources that are necessary for teachers to do their job.
Robertson says he's ready to work with his new staff to meet those expectations.
I can help continue this system on the path that it's on, and even to move it to the next level.
Jonathan Davis, WJBF News Channel 6.
And Dr. Frank Robertson has been very busy ever since that first day when he took the tour of those schools, and he has taken time out of his busy schedule to be with us, and we're going to get right to it. Dr. Robertson, welcome to the Means Report, and thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you, and I'm delighted to be here. Such a pleasure.
Well, we're excited to have you, and I really meant it when you walked in and I said, welcome home. Does it feel like it's kind of come full circle now and you're back where you're supposed to be?
Feels great. My heart is here, matching up with my mind.
Well, we're glad to have you here, and native of Aiken County, South Carolina, have spent some time, a great deal of time in education in Aiken and Edgefield counties, of course, most recently in Marlboro County, South Carolina, but now Richmond. And now let's talk about the trip to those schools where you mentioned you were trying to connect with teachers and students. Have you made any connections yet that have given you an idea of how you might approach your job, and if so, what?
Tremendous connections. Of course, one of the first things that I wanted to do was to connect with the teachers, the students, the school administration. That's the most important part of our work. That's where our purpose is. That's our mission. Just to talk with teachers about the instructional process, the support that they receive from central office staff, what things we can do to help make their jobs much more effective and easier.
It didn't seem as if you'd been on the job for a couple of minutes before we got the disappointing news about AYP. Many schools listed as underperforming. What are you going to do about it? How can we get those schools back on track and keep the ones that are doing well on their track?
The teachers tell us that the mathematics program perhaps could create some challenges when I reviewed the report, I noticed that most schools miss AYP in the area of mathematics, and so we're looking at the curriculum to see exactly how that curriculum that is being used line up with the Georgia performance standards. There seems to be some disconnect there, so teachers are helping us sort this out.
So you think it's an issue that could be blamed partially, at least, on the curriculum itself, not the teaching?
Probably the curriculum. The teaching is in excellent order. I've been very impressed with what I've seen in the instructional capacity of teachers to meet the academic needs of students, but we want to make sure that the curriculum is directly aligned to what the state of Georgia is requiring of students as measured by the CRCT.
Do you have any say-so in switching math curriculum, going with a different company or a different format, or do you have to kind of stay within what the state says you have to do math-wise?
We do. There's a list of curriculum materials, of course, that the state provides school districts, and school districts can select from those list of materials. And of course, the challenge is to match that with the standards that are being required.
Well, so might you switch to something else, to a different math curriculum, choose another one from the list?
Well, we're still assessing.
Yeah.
You know, we're still looking at what we need to do in terms of preparation. There could be some professional learning opportunities that we may need to provide teachers, some support in terms of planning time that we may need to provide for teachers. But we're currently assessing that, and teachers are looking, you know, for ways to help us do that.
Sometimes in college football, or pro football for that matter, but mainly college football, you'll see a team hire a new coach. The coach takes the job. Within a few months, it's made known that the school is going to be on probation for some sort of issues that surfaced before that new coach got there. Do you feel like you're sort of paying the price, not getting to enjoy any grace period whatsoever and getting slapped with big hurdles right off the bat, or do you feel comfortable with everything?
Well, you know, my orientation is problem solving. I welcome a challenge, and what it does, it allows me to bring the best thinking to the table, because I don't have all of the intelligence. I don't have the complete set of intelligence to do what we need to do. So I will then look for those who are just as knowledgeable, or even more knowledgeable. And I'm thinking specifically of teachers. I was in a classroom yesterday, Mrs. Fulton's classroom at Rollins Elementary School.
Sure, yes, sir.
And she's just a dynamic mathematics teacher, and I'm convinced that she can help us, teachers like, you know, Ms. Fountain, can help us resolve this issue.
Well, is this, and I want to cover a lot of topics with you, but just to wrap up the whole how we're doing and performance and standards, is this a time then, if you are a teacher, to make sure that you're at the top of your game? There's a new boss in town. We just got hammered on AYP, and if you're not at the top of your game, look out? Well,
I don't want to set a tone that would appear to be threatening.
Sure.
That's not my mode of operation, but I do make expectations very clear, because we need to ensure that our students are getting the best opportunity to master the academic skills and knowledge that are in front of them, which means that we need the most effective instruction in front of them every single minute, every single day. And for the most part, I found that to be the case in our schools. I'm quite encouraged by the capacity that I see, you know, instructional in our teachers.
Yeah, we love our teachers. We do. And we do want to give credit to all of them out there. You all are heroes, and we appreciate you. Let's look at transportation. It seems like the story is the same at the beginning of every school year, no matter the county, that there are transportation concerns, that buses are crowded, that students are making sure they get on and off at the right stop. A month into it, how are we doing on buses, and what do you see for the future there?
Well, there's still some challenges in terms of the number of drivers. There have been some illness issues that we've had to work with. You know, drivers may not be available to drive their buses on any given day. A number of them may be out, which would require some double routing or some longer periods of wait time for students to to be transported home. So those are some issues that we're looking at the moment to try to bring some resolution to that.
Are drivers disgruntled? Are they getting paid enough? Are you okay with that?
Well, it's interesting that you would ask that question. Several drivers have yelled from the driver's seat as I've been visiting schools, saying, "Dr. Robertson, we want a raise."
Sure,
you know,
and
we
all
of course,
do.
yeah, most definitely. So I'm certain that is always on their minds. But given the economic situation that we're currently facing, I don't know how practical that would be anytime soon. But we do value our drivers. They play a very critical role in this whole scheme of education and educating our children.
Dr. Robertson, let's look at the financial situation briefly. It's bad, but it could get even worse as
Yes.
you look at whether the state's going to be able to fund you. Tell
Yes.
us what you've heard from Atlanta.
Well, we know now that there will be fewer dollars coming in from Atlanta to Richmond County schools. We're looking at what that amount will look like. We have some preliminary numbers that I wouldn't want to divulge at the moment because they could grow and be a little larger than what I'm hearing at the moment. But that is something that we're going to have to address. We're putting in place a framework, and it's developed now conceptually, but a budgetary framework that will kind of put us in front of the state revenue reductions, so we can kind of have a handle on it. Our aim, of course, is to protect the level of schooling that we currently have in place. We don't want that to create a less effective education for our students.
Does your framework include more furloughs?
We're hoping to avoid additional furloughs. Now, I will place a tremendous caution on that because at the moment that's an ambition. Our teachers need to be in front of our students as often as possible, and at the same time our teachers need to be able to plan and engage in professional learning opportunities, and in order for that to happen we need them in school as much as possible. So my goal would be to not impose any additional furlough days. That would be a priority for me.
But once you've cut corners as much as you can without sacrificing the final product, the education, you can't rule them out.
No, you can't. But it certainly will not be something that will be at the front end of us looking at how to reconcile the deficits that we anticipate in the budget.
Let's talk about school safety. It's a concern of superintendents across this nation. Your thoughts on where Richmond County stands on that?
The schools feel very, very safe. I've been in all 57 of them and have spent quality time in them, and have been most impressed with our students' ability to self-correct behaviors that may not be appropriate, or the type of behavior that we'd like to see displayed. So I'm encouraged by that. I'm very encouraged with the student-adult relationship that I see, where we see that as a positive relationship. We know that students tend not to violate rules or act out when they're connected with a caring adult and can go to a caring adult with issues that they're facing. So I see a high relationship in that regard, and I think it keeps down confrontation and issues that might exist among students themselves.
We see groups like dads in schools coming into Richmond County classrooms and trying to provide that adult-child relationship that you speak of. What about on the home front? And again, I get that you've only been on the job for a month, but from what you've heard, are parents doing their job overall in Richmond County, or could you use a heck of a lot more parental and grandparental support?
We see a tremendous amount of parental support at the elementary school, which is traditional.
Right.
You see it diminishing somewhat in a significant way at the middle school level, and it is almost non-existent at the high school level. However, I saw something the other night that I was quite encouraged about. I saw a large group of parents at one of our high schools, Glen Hills High School, with their students, which is, I don't want to say tremendously unusual, but it was good to see.
It's wonderful, yeah.
Yeah, very, very good to see. And I think parents need to not pay attention to their children when they tell them not to come to school or not to be involved. They say that, because they think that it presents a less image for them among their peers.
Sure.
But parents need to show up, disregard that advice from their young people, and show up anyway.
Yeah, you're not going to embarrass them that bad.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
All right, from the news anchor desk, we sort of have a window to the world, Dr. Robertson, where we just stare at the monitor there and watch things happen. And through that monitor, we've watched your progress over the past few years. And we saw a few years back when you were up for the top job in Aiken County, South Carolina, your home turf. You got passed over. Now you come over here, you got the top job in big old Richmond County, Georgia. Do you have any ill will toward your Aiken County friends, and do you kind of feel like, how do you like me now?
Well, that's probably one area where I've been proud of myself. I never harbored any illness towards Aiken, or those who were in charge at the time for deciding to select someone else as superintendent. Did it hurt? Well, I'm human. It did.
Sure.
Was it disappointing? Again, I'm human. It was disappointing, but I was never broken by that. I knew that something else had to be in the plan, and I stayed hopeful and stayed committed to assisting the purpose of educating children, and I'm just so delighted that I'm here in Richmond County as the superintendent of schools. CSRA is home for me, and now my heart is working extremely well with my mind, and just to give back in your home area is just a tremendous thing to be able to do.
Now you can stay put. There's no need to look anymore.
No need.
They'll name schools after you if you stay long enough.
Exactly. I hope to establish a process in public education that is normally found at the university level when you have president emeritus. Well, I hope to reach the status of superintendent emeritus here in Richmond County. I plan to hang around just that long.
I hope so.
Providing that I'm effective in doing what needs to be done, and we're moving this system to world-class status. That's what it's continued upon.
Well, I tell you what, it's been a privilege to have you here, and it really is neat to see everything come full circle, to watch you over the years and to see you back in the top job in Augusta, Georgia, Georgia's second largest city, and to be running the school system. I know that a lot of board members are on board. I know that a lot of moms and dads want to back you. So best of luck to you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Enjoyed it. Appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Frank Robertson, the superintendent of Richmond County Schools, our special guest on this very first Means Report on WJBF Channel 6. When we come back, a person who's not brand new to the Means Report. In fact, he's been here when the Means Report was called the Augusta Report. Before that, when it was called the Young Report. He's George Escala. He's our senior reporter. He's got some inside scoop on what's happening in the Garden City when we roll on.